Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Covered in WA, how many West Aussies are done with virus rules including masks and physical distancing? 1 in 3 West Australians want COVID restrictions, including the mask mandate and physical distancing, dropped immediately, according to a new survey carried out as the state's Omicron wave peaks. The People's Voice poll, conducted by Painted Dog Research, showed most people believed measures to slow the outbreak were still needed but should be relaxed as case numbers drop. Vaccine mandates, which cover more than 1 million workers and visitors to a host of venues, was the most divisive issue, with respondents split on how long compulsory jab requirements should continue. The findings, from a survey of 1151 West Australians, come after WA's daily covered case numbers dropped for a fourth consecutive day. Sunday's 6439 new infections was the fewest detected in almost 2 weeks. The hospitalisation rate remained static, 221 in hospital and 7 in ICU, and another 3 people with COVID died, 2 men in their 80s and 90s, and a woman in her 90s. However, it was unclear if the wave has peaked as the number of PCR tests dropped significantly. Almost 27% of the 10,338 swabs on Saturday were returned COVID positive. Daily infections fell further on Monday, with another 682 were recorded. WA is one of only 2 states that still mandate masks in all public indoor settings, which research has shown is a major deterrent to workers returning to the office. SA is the other, and it plans to scrap the mandate from April 14. Other states only require masks in high-risk settings, such as aged care, hospitals and major indoor events, despite infections rising nationwide as the more contagious BA2 variant takes hold. Friday's poll found 30% of West Australians wanted the mask mandate to end now, while 64% believe the measure is currently needed but should be eased if cases decrease, and 6% wanted it to remain forever. Men were significantly more likely than women to want masks to be banished. A higher proportion, 35%, said capacity limits at venues ranging from cafes to Optus Stadium should be removed immediately, with 58% happy to wait until after the peak. 7% supported physical distancing indefinitely. On vaccine mandates, 29% wanted the rule abolished now, 42% believed they should be removed when the risk lowers, and 29% were keen for them to become a normal part of life. Older West Australians were the most likely to feel compulsory jabs to exist forever, 35%. Modelling by WA Health predicted that if no masks were used, WA would experience 28,000 cases per day at the peak, with 1131 people with COVID in hospital and 140 requiring intensive care. With the mask mandate and Level 2 restrictions, this dropped to a forecast peak of 10,300 daily cases, with 430 general hospital admissions and 53 in ICU. These estimates have proven to be overly conservative, with infections yet to breach the 10,000 a day mark and just 221 people with COVID in hospital and 7 in ICU. Shadow Health Minister Libby Mettam called for the government to give a clear commitment to remove restrictions as case numbers drop, given the hospitalisation rate was well below predicted levels. The Premier needs to stop playing politics with the pandemic and provide proper transparency around COVID and the path going forwards to allow WA to live with COVID, Ms Mettam said. These restrictions are having a significant impact on our small businesses, and the CBD in particular, and the WA public have a right to understand the end date to these mandates. Given the WA public have overwhelmingly stepped up over the last 2 years and are now largely vaccinated, we should be seeing a clear date for these mandates to end. Individuals will still have the freedom to wear a mask if they choose beyond these restrictions. A survey by the Property Council WA showed 61% were working from home because they didn't want to wear a mask in the office. Only 10% opted to do so to avoid catching COVID. Health Minister Jade Sanderson said the Premier had given a clear commitment that restrictions would not continue any longer than they were required. She said level 2 restrictions were eased only recently and indoor mask wearing was still needed to limit the spread of COVID. We continue to encourage employers who can safely welcome employees back into the office to do so, Ms. Sanderson said. The Liberals have clearly learnt nothing in their 2 years of repeatedly undermining Western Australia's COVID response and the public health advice. WA's low hospitalisation rate is a direct result of our vaccination policies and our continued commitment to following the public health advice. The results of the poll clearly show West Australians have been fantastic throughout the pandemic. They overwhelmingly